The Montefortino Helmet. This was the helmet that helped build an empire. Originating among the Celtic peoples of northern Italy around the 4th century BC, the Montefortino was eventually adopted by the Roman military and became one of the most widely used helmets in the ancient world. It had a rounded, bowl-shaped skull with a central knob or crest holder at the top, a rear neck guard that swept downward, and hinged cheek pieces that protected the sides of the face. Simple, sturdy, and cheap to produce in large numbers, it was perfectly suited to the demands of a rapidly expanding army. What makes this helmet remarkable is just how long it stayed in service. For nearly 4 centuries, Roman soldiers carried this design across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. It was the face of Roman conquest during some of the Republic's most defining campaigns. The Coolus Helmet. Around the 1st century BC, a new design began appearing across Roman legions that was simpler in form, but no less effective in purpose. The Coolus was a rounded, hemispherical helmet made primarily from copper alloy or bronze, and it took its name from a site in the Marne region of Gaul where early examples were discovered. It lacked the pronounced neck guard of the Montefortino, but shared the same practical cheek pieces. What set the Coolus apart was how widely it spread across different troop types. Auxiliary soldiers, cavalrymen, and legionaries all wore variations of it. Archaeological finds have turned up Coolus helmets from Britain to Syria, reflecting just how standardized Roman military equipment had become. Its clean, unadorned profile made it easy and inexpensive to manufacture, which was exactly what a military machine of Rome's scale required. Practicality was always the priority. The Gallic Helmet. If the Montefortino represented Rome's early ambitions, the Gallic Helmet represented its maturity. Emerging in the late Republic and reaching peak use during the early Imperial period, this helmet was inspired directly by designs used by Celtic craftsmen in Gaul and the Rhine frontier. Roman armorers recognized a superior design when they saw one and adapted it extensively. The Gallic type featured a deeper neck guard angled sharply to deflect downward blows, pronounced brow reinforcements to protect against overhead strikes, and distinctive ear guards cut into the sides of the bowl. The craftsmanship was noticeably finer than earlier types, with many examples showing careful shaping and detailed finishing. It was the helmet of the legions at their most formidable, worn during the height of imperial expansion. The Gallic design would go on to directly shape everything that came after it. The Italic Helmet. Not all Roman helmets owed their origins to foreign influence. The Italic type emerged from traditions rooted in the Italian peninsula itself, representing a parallel development that ran alongside the more widely discussed Gallic and Coolus forms. It shared many features with the Gallic Helmet: the deep neck guard, the brow reinforcement, the shaped cheek pieces, but the Italic version tended to have a slightly different profile, with variations in the neck guard angle and overall construction method that reflected distinctly regional workshops. Finds from across Italy and the western provinces confirm that this was a genuine and widespread type rather than simply a local curiosity. For historians and archaeologists, the Italic helmet is a reminder that Roman military equipment was never a single, centralized product, but rather the result of many workshops, traditions, and influences working in parallel across an enormous empire. The Imperial Gallic Helmet. This is where Roman helmet design reached its most refined and recognizable form. The Imperial Gallic Helmet, developed during the early Imperial period, combined everything the Roman military had learned about protection and practicality into one highly effective design. It retained the deep rear neck guard and brow reinforcement of its predecessors, but added several refinements. Ear cutouts shaped carefully into the skull, cross-reinforcing ridges on the bowl to strengthen against blade strikes, and cheek pieces that offered greater facial coverage. The quality of construction on surviving examples is striking. Many show careful attention to fit and finish that suggests these were value pieces of equipment, not disposable field gear. Legionaries wearing this helmet on Trajan's column appear equipped, disciplined, and unmistakably Roman. It became the defining image of the Imperial Legion at the height of its power. The Imperial Italic Helmet. Running alongside the Imperial Gallic in both time and use, the Imperial Italic represented a second, distinct branch of Roman helmet evolution during the early imperial centuries. Where the Imperial Gallic drew on Celtic metalworking traditions, the Imperial Italic retained stronger roots in the Italian peninsula's own manufacturing heritage. The two types are often confused, but careful examination reveals differences in the shape of the neck guard, the construction of the brow reinforcement, and the overall proportions of the bowl. Both were worn by legionaries and auxiliary troops across the empire, sometimes side by side within the same unit. This coexistence reflects the decentralized reality of Roman military supply. Equipment was sourced regionally, and local workshops produced what they knew best. The Imperial Italic is a quieter chapter in the story of Roman armor, but no less significant for understanding how the legions actually equipped themselves. The Attic Helmet. Not every Roman helmet was designed for the battlefield. The Attic helmet occupied a very different space in the Roman military world, one defined by status, ceremony, and the visual language of authority. Borrowed originally from Greek tradition, where it had been in use since the classical period, the Attic helmet featured a broad, flared neck guard, hinged cheek pieces that curved elegantly upward, and a prominent crest holder along the crown designed to support large, dramatic plumes. Roman officers and commanders wore it not as frontline protection, but as a symbol of rank and command. Sculptural portraits, triumphal reliefs, and funerary monuments frequently depict senior officers in Attic helmets, establishing a visual association between this form and Roman military leadership. It was as much a piece of communication as it was equipment, telling soldiers and enemies alike exactly who was in charge. The Cavalry Sports Helmet. Few objects in Roman military history are as visually arresting as the Cavalry Sports Helmet. These were not battle helmets in any practical sense. They were crafted for the Hippica Gymnasia, a spectacular form of cavalry display exercise performed before audiences as a demonstration of horsemanship and unit coordination. Made from bronze or copper alloy and sometimes iron, these helmets covered the entire face with a sculpted mask, often depicting idealized human features, young, serene, almost otherworldly. Some were modeled to resemble mythological figures or barbarian warriors, adding a theatrical dimension to the spectacle. The workmanship on surviving examples is extraordinary, with fine detail in the hair, brows, and facial features that speaks to highly skilled craftsmen working at the top of their ability. These helmets remind us that Roman military culture had a performative, almost artistic dimension that extended far beyond pure combat function. The Niederbieber Helmet. As the Roman Empire entered the 3rd century AD, its military needs began to shift, and its equipment shifted with it. The Niederbieber Helmet, named after a fort on the Rhine frontier where key examples were found, marked a transition away from the complex, carefully shaped forms of the early imperial period towards something more efficient and easier to produce at scale. The design was simpler, a deeper, more rounded skull that offered good coverage, a neck guard still present but less pronounced, and construction methods that prioritize speed and volume over fine finishing. The 3rd century was a period of intense military pressure, with the empire fighting on multiple frontiers simultaneously. Equipment needed to reach soldiers quickly and in large numbers. The Niederbieber represents not a decline in Roman engineering, but a practical adaptation to a military reality that was becoming increasingly urgent and demanding. The Intercisa Helmet. The Intercisa Helmet tells the story of an empire under pressure finding new solutions. Named after a Roman fort in present-day Hungary, this late Roman design was constructed in a way that set it apart from virtually every helmet that came before it. The skull was made from two separate iron halves riveted together along a central ridge. This segmented construction was faster and cheaper to produce than the single-piece bowls of earlier centuries, reflecting the economic and logistical strains the late empire was increasingly facing. Visually, it had a distinctly different appearance, often with a prominent central comb running front to back and cheek pieces attached by simple loops rather than hinges. Some examples have been found with Christian symbols etched or stamped into the metal, offering a quiet but powerful reminder that by this point, the Roman world had fundamentally changed in ways that went far beyond armor design. The ridge helmet. The ridge helmet was the final evolution, a design that would outlast the Western Roman Empire itself. Like the Intercisa, it was constructed from multiple iron plates joined along a central ridge, but the ridge helmet developed into a more refined and widely varied form, with examples found from Britain to Mesopotamia. Its construction allowed for regional variation while maintaining a broadly consistent design logic. Some examples featured elaborate decoration and gilding, suggesting use by high-status soldiers or officers. Others were plain and functional. The ridge helmet carried Roman military design tradition into the late antique world, where it influenced the equipment of successor states, Byzantine forces, and the early medieval armies that followed. In many ways, looking at a ridge helmet is looking at a bridge between two worlds, the classical Roman past and the medieval future that grew from its ruins. What the full sweep of Roman helmet history reveals is something far richer than a simple catalog of military equipment. Each design captures a moment, a shift in strategy, a new frontier, a change in the empire's fortunes or ambitions. From the simple bronze bowls of the early Republic to the riveted iron constructions of the late Empire, these helmets trace the entire arc of Roman civilization. They tell us how Rome fought, how it organized itself, how it absorbed outside influence, and how it adapted under pressure. Objects like these carry history in a way that written sources alone cannot fully convey. If you found this journey through Roman helmet design worth your time, consider subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. There is no shortage of history, science, culture, and faith waiting to be uncovered, and there is always more worth knowing.